guys, and welcome back to on the game. Well, this video is a culmination of like 100 hours worth of gameplay, plus probably, I don't know, somewhere in the ballpark of like 10 hours of editing. I don't know, I'm not done, I'm just starting, so yes, I'm obviously recording this audio afterwards, but I'm editing it pretty close to the time I played, so I know the kinds of sort of things my brain was doing, and I can explain why I was being an idiot. Yeah. So, this was really frustrating because I spawned in the faraway spawn from the explore notes I wanted, so, yeah. Then I went for the explore note on this little rocky area because it was the closest one that I knew about. I'm sure there's probably closer ones, but for note runs it's easier if you just go for the ones you already know instead of trying to be interesting around the ones that you don't. So I started off with a pretty good start. Yeah, I was debating about whether I was going to give it away or leave this as a surprise, but this is actually a failed note run, and it took me about 2 or 3 tries to get it right. All those other YouTubers make it look so easy to do note runs, but it is very easy to either just die straight up of fall damage, or of dinos, aggressive things like raptors and carnos, especially this early on when you don't have the stamina you need to get away. You might have the speed, because that's typically what I try to level, because it's a very important stat, so you can make sure you survive. Surprisingly, I wasn't killed by piranhas swimming across here, because that's usually one of the major concerns in the runs. In the first try, I actually did better than I did the second try, because I got almost all the notes on Craig's Island, and then I believe I got killed by a piranha. You guys will see before I do. But, yeah. I think I got killed by a piranha the first time. The second time, I was killed by a raptor. So I'll kind of have a quick compilation of the first 2 failed note runs, and I won't bore you with me being bad. So this note one wasn't much better actually. I think I forgot to actually delete the world, because if you don't delete the world, it won't reset the notes. So I had to end up deleting it and then made a new survivor. Although I might have deleted that video. I don't know. It's so hard to keep track of all these clips when you're editing a massive video like this. Okay, yeah, okay, I must have deleted that video. But yeah, either way, this note run was not as successful as the last one even, so I didn't get very far.
You stupid! This is where the fun begins.
So I finally went from dying on the note run to actually successfully doing it. Funny thing is I completely made my character random and had a really dumb name, because I thought I wasn't going to be able to do it again, of course. Self-doubt, you know, bad thing. Always believe in yourself. May that be a lesson. Yeah, that Manta actually scared me really bad because he was mad at me for some reason. I was just chilling. That water was pretty cold. Yeah. So I was actually able to successfully do this note run. But again, I mean, maybe I'll eventually release like a note run video for those of you that don't know exactly how to do this. But in terms of 100 days video itself and for conciseness, I'm gonna, you know, just jump from note to note. After getting lost, I stopped to eat dinner, then I resumed by collecting resources, so I could have a defense kit in case a raptor came up on me. Of course, that doesn't really protect me from the Carnotauruses, because Ebola is not going to do anything to them, but at least it gave me some sense of security, because the last note I had remaining on Craig's Island was in a rather dangerous spot. Although there's actually probably 2 or 3 more I didn't grab. They're just really hard to find on single player when there isn't stuff built everywhere and the trees are all knocked down, so I just went on. The note run, as you'll see, was very successful either way. I probably could have gotten to max level had I actually gone for those notes, or at least been like level 100 or something. But yeah, it was a pretty successful run all the way around. So yeah, I got some hides from the Ichthyosaurus. He was pretty high level though, so I wasted all my spears crafted for myself. But yeah, I definitely recommend spears early on. You may be tempted to rush for that bow. And the bow does have greater range. The spear actually has greater damage. Like, when we're comparing primitive, of course, because you can get better bows that are insane. But, like, the primitive one, if you're gonna, like, try to kill something that's running at you, the spear all the way. You can get so much damage. A bow only does, like, 55 damage. A spear does, like, 200 almost on the headshot, as you saw to that Lystra. I'm gonna have to tame this Moschops, because Moschops is a very good early game, but I don't remember why I didn't end up. Probably because the second thing he asked for was something I couldn't give him. That usually is the case with Moschops. You're very lucky if you can get one. With both of its foods being there. I was going to go for the note that I went for the first note run. It was my very first note. The rocky cove area, but I got sidetracked by this white drop. And early on it's useful to get some spare supplies, like extra food and stuff. So I took it all, even though it was pretty much just garbage. I had to make use of some of it. I was doing pretty good up to level 50 almost when pride started to sink in, as it does to all the greats. And I tried fighting this game with Dillos. I fought heroically, but it still almost died. Because, yeah, that sort of thing happens when you're just using spears and you have no armor at all. And then I did triumph, but I would learn to be more careful in future encounters.
Triple kill.
I ended up waiting for the drop, and that was useful because I was able to get a starter hut for my raft that I would build later to get even more exploring us. And of course, because they're very useful to help you move the dinos around the early game when you don't have platform saddles or cryopods to easily move stuff. Then I built a raft and placed on it. Got a little nice starter base set up in case I died at all. Because this is technically not a hardcore run, then I can't go most shops and go cool kids. It's kind of slow. By the way, the Easter event was going on when I started filming this, so a lot of the dinos had really colors. And of course there was bunny dodos, so I was able to get these cuties, which you'd see I get one. After making a proper reusable respawn point, I placed it down and we took off immediately on our cities to reach our next destination, wherever that might be. So finally, day one was beginning to come to a close after seemingly the longest day run ever. I stopped to grab a note or two that I knew about because this is where I built on my single player on PS4, the island. Although, I have to admit, a lot of the dinos there are really low level because that was back when I thought, oh, maximum difficulty is super scary. And it can be. But it also actually makes the game a bit easier on yourself. The dinos that you tame will be higher level, and thus you can get them leveled easier and get better stats. So definitely play maximum difficulty. There's really no other reason not to. I mean, maybe to learn the basics of the game you could play on lower difficulties, but maximum difficulty, especially on official, you don't really have any excuse because the highest level dinos in most areas are 150. But of course there's some scary caves where dinos get all sorts of crazy high levels that you don't want to think about. Then around midnight I stopped for another night. Yes, I got attacked by a whale on my way to Herbivore Island. I knew that I would be done for if I couldn't get across. I'd probably just cry and give up on this 100 days challenge if I had been eaten by that whale. Luckily, I managed to escape them, and I think I was screaming in this part. I was terrified of this whale. And as you saw, he was very close to getting me. Close to 2 hours so far that I've been playing. In one sitting, mind you, so you can tell my brain is like, give me a break, bro, give me a break. Anyway, I started taming this pterodon and farming wood to supply my already growing amount of metal that I collected here. Herbivore Island is a very rich metal area for early game, and a safe one too, so long as you don't accidentally hit the bottom with your pickaxe. I had enough resources, I decided to make the remaining metal tools I would need, like a pickaxe and a crossbow. Well, I already had a crossbow, but a pike. I would eventually make a pike as well. I had knocked the pterodon out with my slingshot, so that came at no cost to my tranks, but I decided that if I was going to tame an Anki with stones, it would take pretty much all day. So I decided to cut myself some slack and use the trank arrows I had just crafted. It was a pretty decent level Anki, just like the pterodon. In most shops I wasn't really focused on taming for levels, because most shops, if you can get any at all, are very good no matter what level they are, just because of how many uses they have, and really how high damage they have for something of their size. Although, they do run away from a fight if you, like, have them whistle attack something, so just ride on them if you're going to use them as a weapon. Do yourself a favor and not get eaten by whatever you're trying to fight. So the pterodon finished naming, and I named it Fatman because the new Batman movie just came out recently, and I thought that was funny for some reason. How is it? I don't know. I haven't watched it. Is it better than Morbius? Probably, because from my understanding, it's like the worst movie ever, according to some people. So, guys. watch more of this, I guess. Tell me how bad it is. Is it bad enough to where I should watch it? Or where I shouldn't watch it? But, yeah. I grabbed the Explorer note here, and I really just wanted the easy crystal that you can get here, because I wanted a spyglass. They're extremely useful. If you don't know, they can give you dino levels at range. So not only can you like tell what kind of dinosaur it is, you can see what like gender and what level too. So it's extremely useful for long range reconnaissance, the description says. Now you may be thinking, why did I just grab that primitive ghillie mask blueprint? But actually, some of these primitive blueprints can be better than just the regular plain old ghillie mask. So it's worth taking. And sometimes even those like stone refinery forge blueprint can be very useful too, if someone like forgot to unlock that said item. I'm sure most people would have unlocked the refinery forge, but in case you had not unlocked like Adobe or something with that. So it's very useful to collect those, especially if you're in a larger tribe and someone needs to craft those sorts of things. And for any ARC players, experienced or new to the game who have not heard of this, it is very useful. It tells you exactly how many arrows you need, exactly how much food you need to tame dinos, how many narcotics to keep it asleep, that sort of thing. You can have built-in timers, and you can change your multipliers to match the settings of your server, so I would highly recommend you check it out if you don't have it. On the morning of day 5, I worked on upgrading my raft space, because I figured I'd be living inside a raft for a while, considering I can't get the whale. I was making pretty good progress on the raft space until I suddenly remembered that I was taming a Dodecus and that it was almost about to wake up. So I frantically ran because my Paragon ran out of stamina all the way to the Dodecus. Luckily to make it there just before I woke up. Not just before, but it was 100 torpor out of 2,000, so I consider that almost about to wake up. But I left it alone long enough that it tamed pretty much instantly. So yeah, I just kinda had to leave it there because there wasn't really anything else I could do at this point. I then named him Tinky Winky, and rhymed with Pinky, which was my initial name idea. Of course, looking back on that, I did not mean for it to sound like the Teletubby. And also, my game decided to like partially crash, because sometimes it does that when I type dino names for some reason. Then I flew inland and found an explorer. I was actually searching for a baryonyx, but I would take the extra XP. Baryonyx, why you may ask? Because they're one of the best caving dinos for pretty much any cave you can think of. And also, I really needed his stunner to scare that away from me. Then I found a surprisingly decent blue jaw. After flying around the swamp for a little bit, I discovered a new net that I had not discovered on the It's kind of cool to discover it. I've been playing the map for a long time, so it's really cool when you see these tiny little things that you didn't see when you played it the first time. I found a pretty good level baryonyx, and I crafted some bear traps because unfortunately they changed it. Again, I say a little while ago, but it's probably a year or more now, to where baryonyx is no longer to be bored. So bear traps are your best bet. They're actually pretty cheap. So you really just need to set a few down, run it into it, and then just
Hold up. Wait a minute. Huh?
So as day 5 finished, I collected some fish and ended up taming this guy relatively quickly despite his high levelness. That's how Grandma works. though it was not to be. After suffering heavy losses and making a narrow escape, I was doubting this new tame's power. It took me a while since I no longer had to fly, but the island was a pretty small map and baryonyxes are fairly fast, so I was able to make it back surprisingly in the same day. I quickly put my youth under work, gathering hiding meat for my every dinosaurs, saddles, and food. They turned out to be pretty decent. My Sega also finally finished him, and it took quite a while, like 2 days, I think. And I struggled to name him because for some reason a lot of the names I was choosing were not working. After crafting the Dodecra saddle, I swam out of the ocean on my baryonyx and I could not find the whale anything surprisingly. So it could have despawned, or else just found other rafts to terrorize and I just did a single player. But then we came up upon our Dodecra's friend, who was about to be attacked by some terror birds, which he totally had, but I assisted him anyway. I'm a cool dino owner like that. I'm not messing up my games. Literally last second.
Enemy spotted. Bruh.
then I started farming stone because I wanted to make the base out of stone for some reason. It makes my life miserable. I then began placing storage boxes so I could unload my dinosaurs and get more amounts of stone and wood before they would get inconverted. Then I tamed this monkey because it was blue and I thought that was cool. So day 8 I mainly just kind of finished up nice little decorative parts of my base. I lost a lot of the video for some reason, but I did build a few things during day 8. It wasn't my most productive day on the ark so far, but I did build a large portion of the animal pen on day 8 and some other things. Rip Fat Man.
When I see you again.
After that, I was determined to make a pen not only to keep my remaining alive animals safe, but also to make sure that none of the animals tampered with my friend's graves. Then I found an explorer now. And since it was the Easter event, I hung out around some bunny dodos long enough to get one chibi. And it was a chibi dire bear, which, to be honest, considering it was a green chibi, it was about the best I could ask for. I also tried to swim to Carnivore Island to get this red drop, but baryonyxes aren't the fastest swimmers in the world. I mean, they're decent, but he didn't get me there before the drop despawned. So instead of trying to get that red drop, I decided to attack this Alpha Megalodon to see how powerful my baryonyx was against it. The fight lasted a really long time, but I did want to highlight that I almost died during it because the water was really cold. And then I managed to kill that Megalodon, although he didn't give me any milk. Although my baryonyx did get quite a few levels from it, as you can see, 15. So there wasn't all in this. After that, I searched for oil, which there's not much in the area around Carnivore Island, although I did find some. That dolphin scared me so bad, I remember. But yeah, what was even more scary is that it was really deep down and baryonyxes cannot swim up fast at all, so I almost drowned to death. And I made a fabricator while I was in the big house. So, now I can put it into my big house. Yeah, that's a pretty good plan of words, wasn't it? Then I went ahead and placed my generator and an outlet box. After a good long mile of searching, I decided to settle for this level 85 Argentavis right here, this orange and gray one, which really isn't that bad, and it ended up being pretty good leveled after gaming. So the Argentavis turned out pretty good, level 127, which I was worried about it because there were some Allosauruses in the area pretty close too, and they would definitely chomp on him.
Nice.
After searching for a good while, I did find a pretty good level Rex. I did finally trap it, but it took most of the day just to trap it, so you'll have to get the trap pictures to see me actually game it. Because the way I'm going to set this up is, it's going to be one giant long play video, but I'm going to have it set up in chapters, so if you only want to put one chapter, and I'll write in the description when each chapter starts, which chapter ends, because I have a feeling it's going to be a really long video. I do appreciate those. You can make hour and a half, 100-day plays, but I don't think I'm going to do that. Just getting the 10 hours of gameplay so far down into 1 hour has been quite a long process. I still feel like I'm missing something that's important, but if you like this, I actually have an idea for another one already, so let me know in the Hey guys, and welcome back to Chapter 2. If you did not see Chapter 1, I'd recommend at least seeing the highlights of it, like a little bit of each day maybe. But here we are. It's already been 10 days, that's crazy, day 11. Yeah, I still have so many more to go. But it's fun enough, so I should be able to finish it, hopefully. I do apologize, the sound quality was not exactly as good as it could have been in the last chapter. I don't think there's anything I can do about it now. I'll see if there is. I'll try to fix it. If not, bear with me. I'll try to edit the rest so it's better. I know that's been a low point for a lot of my videos is the sound. I just don't talk very loud, so it's kind of hard. But yeah, I'll just try to lower the game volume a little bit so you guys can hear especially when I'm saying something important. If I'm just rambling on about something dumb, like I'm complaining about how a dino isn't as good as it should be or something, maybe that I may not choose to emphasize. But yeah, that, like, important stuff, like when I'm giving advice or whatever, or explaining something that happened off camera, which, being 100 days, and for conciseness, I obviously can't show everything, so there will be some things that you'll miss, and that you've already missed in the last chapter. But yeah, I try to include as much as possible. That's why I decided this is going to be more of a long plays video than a 100 days, like, typical one. It's still your average 100 days, just a little bit more in greater detail for those of you who are considering doing this on your own. It's actually been quite the journey so far, and I imagine it will be quite the journey onward. Using the polymer from that duck I just killed, Hesperonychus, whatever it is called, is so much easier to just call it a duck, because it's basically like a little dinosaur duck thing. But yeah, I was really lucky to find that, because they're kind of rare. But now I had cryopods, but I ended up not even using them to bring the Rex back, because I decided it'd be better to just get it levels by walking it back and kind of murdering everything in its path. So that's what I did. So for some reason I chose not to record the walk back, but I ended up killing like 2 or 3 alpha raptors and a bunch of other stuff too, which gave me a significant amount of XP, enough to level the Rex to about, I think, 15,000 health, which is good for starters, but I'll need them to be around 20,000 for taking on bosses later. But it's really a good start for just a little bit of time farming XP with it. Then around midnight I decided to make my first batch of dye because my armor was a bit colorless, and who doesn't like colored armor? I then collected some metal and crystal because I knew I would need it for a refrigerator to store good taming foods, like cooked prime and cooked mutton later on. But yeah, there'll be a lot of farming in the next couple of days. Then I made a smelting platform and put a bunch more stone furnaces on it because I was going to need a bunch of metal, like a bunch of metal. So yeah, I made a little platform for them to go on, and then got the resources to build and place 4 furnaces, which definitely helped speed up the metal cooking process, and also consumed entire forests full of wood just to keep it sustained. Then I started constructing a hatchery to hatch my future Rex super soldiers in. But I would also need the air conditioners, which would be just about as time consuming to get the resources for as the house itself. Day 13 started with me hunting for pelt that I would need to survive the frigid temperatures of the rest of the north that isn't Hidden Lake. Once I had crafted my first hat, I flew all the way over to the icebergs to hopefully get a good supply of silica pearls, oil, and organic polymer when I discovered this terrifying beast. He had pretty cool colors, but I doubted the need to really tame a Giganotosaurus on a 100 days run. Maybe later, if he hasn't despawned, I'll look into it, but right now there's more pressing matters. On my way back, I saw this little orange guy and decided to abduct him. Ovis meat is highly nutritious, but not only that, it's useful for taming stuff, but Ovises are kind of rare because everything likes to kill them, so I figured I would grab it and take it back to my base where it would be safe if I ever needed its meat. Then I made a grilling platform in the baby room hatchery, whatever you want to call it, so I could put an industrial griller in there and the babies wouldn't get stuck on it and stuff. And grillers are really useful because they're the only thing that can cook stuff besides a campfire, which takes 20 seconds for meat, whereas this does like 20 meat in 20 seconds, so it's like technically the same as 1 meat a second. Unless it's prime or lamb chops, and then it does 12 a second. But realistically, that's still a lot better. Then I decided to kill the sheep because there was a good chance he was going to despawn anyway. So it would be better for me to just save his meat in the fridge rather than just... Yeah, it's kind of like, sorry little one, when Thanos does like, you know, that sort of thing. Kind of felt like that when I ate the sheep because he was really cool. I was actually kind of thinking about taming him, but there's also that problem where like sheep only eat vegetable cakes, which are super hard to get, so yeah, realistically his meat is more useful than he is. I know, guys, that's so mean, but it really is true in this game because the only thing you can use living sheep for is for their fur, which realistically you can just get fur from your own guy if you just cut your hair. Day 14 involves more farming, but this time I got CP after I got metal as well, because cementing paste is really frustrating to get, unless you're stealing it from beavers who make it for you, so. I also was kind of searching for Rexes, but I couldn't really find any good level ones, so I kind of just flew around pointlessly for a long time on day 14. Then I decided to search literally probably the last best place to find a Rex, which was Carnivore Island. I don't know why I didn't start there first. Makes sense given the name, but that's where I decided to go. After killing a few low-level Rexes, I came upon this one, which I thought was pretty good, so I started constructing the trap and then tamed it. While the Rex was taming on day 15 early, I cut my hair and dyed it orange because I thought that would look cool. Sadly, I didn't have any hairstyles unlocked, which was a bit frustrating, but once I make it to level 105, I'll at least get 1 or 2 more that will let me spice up my survivor's appearance a little bit more. Once the Rex was tamed, I was actually able to level it pretty easily just by walking around Carnivore Island, the Dead Island, if you want to call it that. That's what it's actually called. I was able to level them pretty quickly, pretty easily. And yes, I did name them Barney because they're purple. Purple. I said that way wrong for some reason. After cryopotting it back from the Lost Dead Island, I tried fighting a pack of alpha raptors, and it was quite scary, but I did prevail. I mean, I did take quite a bit of damage though.
Yeah, boy.
Not long after I brought the Rex back from leveling, I had a Rex egg to deposit in the hatchery, which was nice. So I was able to start building up my numbers. At midnight on day 15, I crafted my first pump-action shotgun. It wasn't great because it's just a primitive, but it'll still come in handy in the caves. Early on day 16, using some crystal I just collected, I made a cryo fridge to keep my cryopods alive long term. A pretty garbage drop landed near my base, but I used the opportunity to make some cryopods, so it turned out alright. Then the Rex hatched. I didn't really know what to name him, so I just named him Biscuit. There were some bunny dodos left over from the Easter event, so I wondered if I grabbed their eggs if I could still get a chance of eating those delicious chibis. Not that I would eat them, but I'm just saying. Well, you know what I mean. Hopefully you know what I mean. But it wouldn't place them because the event was over, so I was mad and I just decided to shoot the bunny dodo in the face. The rest of night 16 and onto the morning of 17, I collected silica pearls that I would need for the chemistry bench to craft narcotics and other related things that are crafted in the mortar and pestle really fast. On my way back from collecting about 300 silica pearls, I found this cool megatherium that was pinkish red and was also level 90, which was pretty good. Although they look like sloths, they're actually kind of broken, against bugs anyway. They get a special buff where they do a bunch of extra damage, which comes in handy pretty well with the spider boss, because obviously they summon a bunch of spider minions. I then got the idea to make a simple stone trap for the megatherium that wasn't the exact same as the Rex trap, so I don't have to waste resources on gates. So I made this thatch model to see if my idea would work as intended, which it did. I had some leftover paint from painting my hair orange, so I decided to use some of it on the gates and stuff around the place. If you couldn't tell, it's my favorite color. I then crafted the chemistry bench and placed it. It's pretty expensive, but it'll be well worth it when you start crafting large numbers of narcotics or gunpowder or really anything of that sort. Okay, so I have to admit, guys, I may or may not have died off camera. Yeah. So that's a problem. It would be a bigger problem if I was actually trying to do hardcore. But this is really my practice run to see if I could actually make it in the hardcore run. The answer right now appears like it would be no, because I died. But it was actually a really goofy mistake that I'm mad about. Because as you'll see, I was flying and then being on PC, it's not my regular platform, I accidentally hit E and fell off of my Argentavis. So, yeah, that happened, I guess. My RG was frustratingly super high in the sky, because I was flying super high in the sky, but I came up with a big brain plan to get them down. After crypotting my baryonyx, I made a mad dash off the top of a mountain nearby, hoping to be able to parachute to my Argentavis. Parachutes in Ark are kind of broken because they're more like gliders than parachutes. You can literally probably travel across the entire map if you have enough movement speed, just by jumping off of a mountain with enough speed, and you'll just vroom. It's almost better than having a flyer. Traveled all the way across Ragnarok. Well, not all the way across it, but pretty far across Ragnarok with just a parachute one time on PvP when my flyer got killed. So it definitely works. Amusingly enough, me dying on day 18 was about the most interesting thing that happened, because the rest of the day was just farming. But day 19 decided to troll me by having a red box that was unopenable, and yes, I could have used ghost mode to get it, but I'm not going to do that for the purposes of this video. If it was any other world I would have, but just to emphasize that I'm not using any sort of cheats at all in this video. I'm not going to ghost mode to get that box. Then there was a red box I could actually open, but it was kind of garbage, to be honest. Not even really worth mentioning, but I included it anyway. Pretty much for the rest of the day 18, since Biscuit had been fully grown and imprinted, I decided to take him on a little leveling journey. By the time day 20 came along, I had another Rex egg ready to start hatching. So I kind of just read notes until it was done. It wasn't the most efficient use of time, but the explore notes are interesting, and it kept me occupied for the 14 minutes or so while I was waiting for it to hatch. The Rex egg's older brother had been leveled to 20,000 health, similar to its mother, so it turned out pretty good after just a little bit of leveling. Then this egg hatched, and I decided to name it Teacup. For what reason, I have no idea. After several less than satisfying red drops, I actually got a pretty decent one of a Journeyman Longneck and Apprentice Flak Leggings, which both pretty good considering they weren't like Mastercraft or something. I chose not to include most of the heavy farming I had to do in the last couple of days to get the Industrial Forge, and just focus on the main important parts like the Rexes and stuff like that, because those are going to be more key to me completing this than an Industrial Forge. But Industrial Forges are still very, very useful, so I was pretty lucky to get one so early on and to get enough resources to actually make one, because they work about efficiently as 20 of the stone ones. So it was either that or build 16 more stone furnaces. Before the night was out, I found another red drop, but that's really gonna do it for this chapter of 100 days. So see you guys in a couple of seconds when the next one starts. Hey guys, and welcome back to chapter 3 of my Ark 100 Days playthrough, which is really crazy to think about. Because, I mean, okay, at this point I haven't played over a day yet, but by the end of the chapter I will have. Not in one sitting. But, yeah, kind of crazy how much time I've spent. But comparatively, moreover, just how much more I've accomplished than, say, the first 24 hours of any of my other Ark worlds. So I am really excited to see how this turns out, because I'm not done with the playthrough yet, but I am recording this after, because as I've explained earlier, it's like 10 days in Ark, then I edit them, compile them into a chapter. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, let's get into this chapter. So, the first thing I do once it becomes brighter outside was I went to look for another good level of female Rex, because the more you have, the faster your breeding will go. Because even in single player, mating cooldown can be kind of annoying sometimes. That Alpha Rex is like level 145, so I chose not to mess with it. With my agitators or with anything else, really, because that's just an insanely overpowered Alpha Rex. Once I had done a lap around the most popular Rex spawns, I decided to take one of my lower level Rexes out and start to level it up by killing a bunch of stuff. So that's the best way to level up dinosaurs. Is to eat stuff with the dinosaurs. Specifically alpha dinos, but really anything else. Early on day 7, I flew pretty far to get a yellow drop, but I was surprised with the quality of the loot. Pretty good blueprint for flak, considering the island is not one of the better maps for loot. The red drop only had decent loot, but it was a Philo Cleo saddle that was an apprentice, so that was okay. Later in day 27, I murdered some penguins because I needed their delicious polymers for making a vault. On the way back, I would build a Megatherium trap, but I didn't exactly have all the resources I needed. So when I went to tame it, it just kind of escaped the trap, so I'd have to come back and get it later. As you all just saw, taming a Megatherium without a trap is quite simply a death wish. So I went out and crafted the remaining pieces for the trap, though out of wood, so it wouldn't be quite as durable as it was made out of stone. But it would last long enough for the tame, which is really all I needed it to do. I almost froze my butt off in the ice biome because I forgot my base. But I was able to make it back and crafted a vault while I was healing up. So it was almost day on, well, not almost day, almost, it almost had become day 24 by the time I got all the gear I needed and came back. But it was still night 23, I'm just calling it. It was day 24 for simplicity. It will be by the time I'm done taming this anyway. So, yeah. Even with the trap fully constructed though, I still ran into some difficulties trying to lure into the trap given the terrain surrounding it. After a while though, I finally did get it in there. After getting out of the danger room, I decided to name it Giant Anteater, because it's very fitting. Kind of looks like one. But yeah, about the puns. The Argentavis getting constantly killed by everything while I was taming stuff was kind of annoying. While I was leveling one of my Rexes, a red drop appeared on Carnivore Island, and I didn't have any way to get out there very fast, so I decided just to craft a raft and sail over there with my Rex. Maybe a good spot to get levels too, because there's plenty of things to kill on an island called the Dead Island. Not even gonna lie, that's probably the best pirate I've ever seen in Ark Survival Evolved. Day 25 was filled by another fruitless search for Rexes that I could not find anywhere that were good. Anyway, or female. This one was decent, but I decided to get rid of it. Enough. 90 male. If I was going to take another male, it would have to be close to wild max. Day 26 was hopeful that I would get a female Rex baby, but I'd be disappointed yet again. I then began the several-day search for a decent level Basilosaurus to do the ocean caves with. I tamed an Itchy to ride around on while I was looking for a Mosasaurus because Baryonyxes are just pretty slow in the water. Powerful, but pretty slow. So I went ahead and tamed this guy and just brought my Baryonyx around in a cryopod when I needed to fight the mantas swarming the Basilos. Finally, after a collective total of probably about 5 days worth of searching, I found a halfway decent Basilosaurus. So I headed back up the shore so I could put the Itchy away safely and take out my Baryonyx to begin taming the Basilosaurus. The best way I find to lure the mantas away without harming the Basilo is to shoot one of them with a crossbow. Probably a harpoon gun would work too, but I don't usually make those. Then the best option would be a Baryonyx or maybe a shark if you have a good enough one. Because the Baryonyx can just spin around, but a shark, if you have good enough damage, you can probably just one bop a whole crowd of them. If it's strong enough. I don't think most sharks can do that. Especially considering some of these mantas are taking 2 or 3 swings from a pretty decent level of Baryonyx. So yeah, I'd recommend a Baryonyx probably as good semi-aquatic tame for this mission. After killing his little manta followers, I began to follow him and start feeding him. Unfortunately, there's a glitch with passive tames. I don't know if this is just on the console ports. I know I'm playing on PC, but technically this is the Xbox version because I got it for PC Game Pass system. So it may just be a console glitch, it may not be. But the way that this glitch works is it like makes it impossible for you to feed your passive tame dinos again. They'll just sit there and starve to death, which is really kind of annoying. But one way I figured out how to fix it is if you just exit your world. Exiting your world, as simple as that, can usually fix it. So I just had to swim to a safe place and then exit and then relog, and then he was ready to be fed. You'll know that this glitch is happening because you'll sit there by the dino for like a minute or two and its food won't have gone down at all. Look at Dododex like I suggested earlier, the app. Because it'll tell you how long passive tames usually take between feedings, and if it's gone like probably twice as long as you should normally wait, I would advise trying the relog thing. So yeah, it kinda sucks if you're playing Xbox One or PS4 or any of the older consoles Ark is offered on, because that login time can be really killer. Luckily, this PC I got runs the game pretty well. Login does not take very long. It's very, very good that way. But yeah, got back on. Basilo was hungry immediately, and they eat quite a lot, quite fast. So make sure if you do try to tame one, you bring plenty of food, preferably good food, so you get the best taming effectiveness, like mutton or prime, or if possible, kibble. Although I don't usually use kibble for much unless I'm trying to be like pro Ark player moves or whatever. So when they were done taming, I decided to name it cringely, just like the rest of my dinos, Whale. No, not the rest of my dinos are named Whale, but it's cringe because it's kind of like a pun. It's a mix between the word whale, as in the animal, and whale, as in the sound. So it's quite the mind-boggling pun there. Or, in other words, just really cringe. Unfortunately, I didn't really remember to bring enough cryopods to bring my dolphin back. So, I decided I'd ride the Bacillo back instead. Good XP farm along the way. And I don't know if I've already said this about Bacillosauruses, but one really handy dandy thing about them is that they're immune to jellyfish stuns. So they're great for farming the biotoxins, or just running water caves without worrying about dying every 5 seconds from jellyfish and electric eels. Plus, they're pretty tanky. You can get their HP up a lot higher than the sharks. Megalodons, my bad. And damage pretty good too. I don't know about better, but maybe better than Megalodons. Probably better than Megalodons. Especially if you get those weird X mutated ones that everybody likes to sell on the servers for cave runs. Of course, this isn't mutated or X, because you can only get X creatures on Genesis. But still, kinda cool to get one such a high level. And with the Easter event colors still active, even though it is nowhere close to Easter. It is just still in my world somehow. Some other things you should know about the Bacillosaurus is that they heal extremely fast when they're near the water's surface. I believe that counts in Pearl Cave surfaces too. Which, I might go to that at some point and show you guys what I mean. But, yeah. They also have a buff that keeps you warm or cool in the waters depending on the temperature. And, they take damage near the very bottom of the sea, which is kind of annoying, but it's not a whole bunch. You can deal with it if you get a decent HP one. But yeah, it's not even that much big of a hindrance because none of the ocean caves are at the very bottom of the sea. Finally, after basically the whole day on the sea on my Bacillosaurus, I made it back to Dolphin, and then I had to swim all the way back on my Bacillosaurus because I didn't bring an Argentavis. Well, that was okay because I was able to get more levels on the way back as well. Then I arrived back at base safely. Well, the shore to my base, and then I had to run through the jungle like a madman with my 2 dinos and cryopods. Though I may not live near the ocean directly, the lake in my backyard is plenty big enough for whale and dolphin. As long as I don't get too many more sea dinos, they should fit quite nicely in there. Since I couldn't find any Rexes, I decided to obtain the next best thing, a Ytyrannus, which you should always have one of during a boss fight, because they can provide friendly boosts to dinosaurs on your team. Like, I think it's a damage reduction and damage increase. It's pretty nice, actually. And it even works on Rexes. So many people use them in boss fights. Thing is, I forgot to bring a trap. Except I didn't forget to bring a trap. I forgot to place the trap. It was in my inventory the whole time and I didn't even realize it. What a shame, because both of the Ytyrannuses I tried tailing that day ran off the cliff and got killed by a gang of mammoths. It was quite frustrating. Essentially, day 29 was a waste, except for one thing. I discovered that the Rockwell, Rex that I named Rockwell, had a mutation. My first Rex on this world with a mutation. I believe the mutation was in damage, although I'm not sure because it's not really significant if they only have one mutation out of 20. Although I can go well over that if you use mutagel and stuff like that. But yeah, it was still impressive to see that I had a mutation this early on. If I so choose, I could try to breed it to multiply the number of Rexes I have with mutations and hopefully get better ones. Although I don't know if I'll do that within this 100 days because mutations can be pretty time consuming if you want to do them like the pros. To conclude this chapter was basically just Rex leveling. Although Rex leveling with a secondary motive, I must admit. Dark Summer Bash is going on and I really want that Dino Inflatable costume. So I went out there and murdered basically everything that could give me prime meat to get that costume, that is. You'll get to see it next chapter. I didn't have enough time this chapter to get it. Somehow I forgot cryosickness existed and deployed my Rex at a very bad time. So it was basically out for the rest of the day. I finished up the day by hunting some more prime with my Argentavis, but it would take literally until just about when day 31 began for the Rex to finally wake up after most of the day being asleep. And that's with the help of several stim berries and not narcotics, stimulants that I put in his inventory. But yeah, that's the end of chapter 3. See you guys in the next chapter. Hey, what's up guys? Couldn't really do my intro wave because basically I kept playing after I finished the last chapter because I don't know, I was in the middle of something. I felt like continuing to level that Rex and bringing it back. So yeah, no intro wave, sorry. But yeah, let's get into this chapter. After I did some leveling on my Rex, I used the prime meat and made some summer event items. Like the very nice looking inflatable Rex costume. And some other, like Hawaiian shirt and swimsuit skin and stuff like that. I shoved all my Rexes on a raft because I saw, well not all of them, but quite a few of them on my raft. And sailed over to Carnivore Island because I saw an Alpha Rex and I was gonna pit them against it to see if I could get some XP and some loot, obviously.
That's what I've been waiting for.
I spent day 32 again looking for more female Rexes because I still only have one at this point, which is very frustrating. At least that drop was good, so that was the one silver lining to day 32. Later in the day I found a pretty mid female Rex that I attempted to tame, but there's a reason why I say attempted to.
Bruh.
Day 33, more Rex hunting. As day 33 came to a close, I decided to take my stress off of hunting for Rexes and instead move on to just equally as stressful caves. In the future, I'll try to actually show the map coordinates of caves myself, but I will post this one up here. This is the Carno Island cave. For those of you who don't know where it is, I'm putting it on screen now. Yeah, that's where it is. And it is one of the easier caves. The problem is they can just be a little bit cold sometimes, and there's a lot of bats, and bats are annoying. Day 34, I brought back my first artifact and didn't die. So that was good. Hey guys, and welcome back. Today, well, it's day 34 and I still only have one female Rex, which is kind of frustrating. But yeah, I'm gonna level the ones I have right now. And also look for one / also cave levels, so I got a lot on my plate right now. I don't think I'll get bored, because there's quite a bit to do. That's the biggest problem with this challenge, is trying to stay entertained while playing this. I like art. It's like one of my favorite games, but you know, like even with your favorite game, you can sometimes get bored of it, so I'm very lucky that all my Rexes have pretty good stamina. For base stats, anyway. I might level it a little bit, but it's pretty good to start off with. And that's one of the many reasons you want to try to tame a higher level Rex if possible. Just better base stats, stamina, HP damage, all that sorts of stuff. So this is one of the caves you will need for the spider boss. I forget which artifact it is, but I'll show you guys the map location. I don't have a GPS, but pretty much 40, 45-ish, kind of, just in this vicinity. Go orbit camera so maybe you can see. Forgot to show you guys that on the last one, but I'll try to make sure to do that. So, day 34 ended with me coming back safely with the artifact Rex and Baryonyx. And I had finished leveling that Rex, so that was good too. Day 35 I decided I would farm levels on my only female Rex, in hopes that maybe the babies would get even better stats. After I finished leveling the other Rex, I took this one down to the South Cave because it was quite a far trek and I hoped I would get some levels along the way. This is the map's location. That was what I was about to say. This is the cave's location. 8053-ish. This one's actually so easy, you could probably do it already, but you know. Well, one of my Rexes, well, my only female Rex, is almost ready to breed again. In like 20 minutes or something, as I say. I finished leveling the other Rex monster pretty decently. Could use some more damage, but it's good enough for now. At least it's equal to the other ones, or close. So yeah, 10 minutes. And I'm running kind of low on maps, so I guess I'm going to do a metal one. I'm hoping that this egg reverses the trend of getting all mayo eggs, because that's like really annoying. And is really hindering my ability to already have enough Rexes. My main goal for day 37 was to tame a Phylocleo, although with that egg, I really only ended up finding a Phylocleo. And some loot along the way, of course.
Yeah, boy.
When I got back, I was pleasantly surprised to find not one Rex baby, but two. They're both female.
Nice.
Pretty decent level, although they would need some work. But it was the best turn of luck when it came to Rexes I've had this entire chapter, or really the last couple of chapters in general. Or maybe the whole series in general. It was pretty lucky. Alright, so the Phylocleo is up there somewhere. I think. Unless I lost them. Which hopefully I didn't do that, that'd be bad. Anyways, I'm gonna place my bear traps. And I'm gonna get it this time. It was getting dark, so I just headed back to my base and got some cooked prime in mutton because that's what they like best. And then took a while to find it again, but I eventually did. So yeah, and then I went about taming it. Okay, so as usual, my plans in Ark never work, so yeah, that's fine. I thought that bear trap was gonna hold him a lot longer than it actually ended up doing. Not as good as I would have liked it to be, but that's okay. Okay, I lied when I said I basically just leveled on my Phylocleo the whole day. I also did this cave, which I am throwing its location on the screen now because I forgot to pull up my map for some reason on this part. parachute too, probably, to get out. And it is just right up here. Wow, I made that look way too easy. Okay, actually, so I forgot, you can bring your gynecoropod with you, but I'm just gonna see how dangerous it looks. Okay, so it's really safe right here. Then, to wrap up the chapter, I started leveling up one of the female baby Rexes. Hey guys, and welcome back to chapter 5? Yeah, chapter 5. That's really crazy. Hard to think about, but yeah. Chapter 5. Just the day 40, 41. I don't know. You see it on the top of the screen. I'm editing this, so I genuinely have no clue. But I would guess 41. And yeah, there's gonna be a lot of caving. I mean, last chapter there was a lot of caving, but there's more. Because there's 10 artifacts, which means 10 caves. Which means, yeah, a lot of work. And I need 29 Rexes, which means there's gonna be a lot of breeding, a lot of leveling. And yeah, I'll need some other dinos for the bosses too, but you'll meet them by the end of the chapter as well, I'm sure. So yeah. Once it became day, I set out and leveled another Rex, as usual. This time I headed to the lava cave on the south, I believe southeast of the island. I'll get back to you on that. Alright, so this is where the lava cave is at. Probably one of the harder caves. The only cave that I would say, the only two caves that I could say really might be more difficult than this. The harder of the two snow caves and the swamp cave. But this is probably the second or third hardest cave on the map. So you're definitely going to want to get sleeping bags out here. I put away my gear, that was good, my best gear. Apparently I got a pickaxe I need to put in here. And I'm just gonna leave it in this Rex. I'm really hoping I don't die, because that kinda suck, but it is a possibility, and again, this isn't a hardcore run, because I've already died once, but it's kinda just to see how good I can do. Could I actually beat a hardcore run? And then it was day 43. I didn't do a whole lot for the rest of day 43, and a large portion of it was actually spent flying all the way out here to this cave. Yeah, this was the first real unfortunate caving experience I had. This is the Northwest Cave, the Skylord Cave as some will know it. It's all crawl spaces. There's no way to bring dinos in. I mean, cryopod, yeah, you can bring a dino in, but it's really not a good idea because there's instant death fall pits and fun stuff like that. So I just tried it with a shotgun, pike, and shield and stuff, and it did not really go the way I wanted it to. I'll throw the map location on, though, so you guys know where it is. Bats, mega rabies can be a concern. Okay, it's actually not too bad in here. So you want to make sure you have something to heal up or just retreat if it does get you low enough. Okay, so spiders actually do a lot of damage. Their main concern is torpor, so... Yeah, I don't know. I should have probably brought a better bug. I don't know if I actually have one. Also might worth being considering bringing stimulants. I did not. So I'm just gonna kind of heal up on my torpor really quick. Okay, I think I'm gonna get knocked out, so I'm just gonna, yeah, I did get knocked out, so I'm glad I went out of the cave. Maybe my Argentavis has some stem berries. Stupid bats. Unfortunately, guys, the body got meshed really weird, so it sucks, but I just lost all that equipment. Luckily, I didn't bring any of my really valuable stuff, but I did lose my fur cap, which is kind of annoying, especially considering the fact that that's not even close to as hard as the last video I did. That's what's got me really frustrated with that. But I still have the rest of the day, so maybe I'll try my luck with the water cave or the swamp cave, maybe. And tried the swamp cave I did, but today was just really not my lucky day for caves, and this didn't go very well either. Luckily, I was able to get my baryonyx out. You'll see, but it's really annoying. By this point, I've become quite understandably agitated by the caves, so I set out on taming a Ytyrannus, which is like a fluffy T-Rex that gives special roars that help your dinos, and they're really good for boss fights, so I set about trying to find one. Unfortunately, this one was an idiot, even though it was a good level, got itself killed, so then I had to settle for a worse one. I did find a good level Daedon though, which is also useful for boss fights because they heal stuff, basically. That's what they're good for. It's kind of slow and not very good, but it can be used to heal large numbers of dinos at once, and it's also the island's only healer dino because we don't have snow owls. So yeah. I crafted the Daedon in the saddle. He had some level ups from being in the cryopod, so I put them into food. That's really what you want them into, because yeah, their healing ability uses food to activate, and lots of it. As you can see, it's going down pretty fast when I had it active, and it yeah, it's just uses a lot of food. Some people actually bring them into the boss arenas. I don't think I'll be doing that with my Daedon. I'm probably just going to use them to heal up in between fights. But a handy tip with Daedons is that obviously they have enormous amounts of food, so you want enormous amounts of food to feed them once you've depleted their food. But you can actually walk out of render distance of the Daedon and then walk back in render distance, and it will be at full food and have eaten all the food. It'll be at full food if you put enough in the trough. Just to clarify, because you have to make sure you put enough in the trough to actually feed it. I'd recommend just completely filling it, and yeah, just getting your Daedon's food as high as physically possible. And they won't continue healing if you get off of them unless you activate passive healing, which will basically just whenever they see an injured dino, that's when it retains. They'll heal it up until their food runs out. And it's effective, their healing is, but it's not like you can't bring a 1000 HP Rex up to 40,000 no matter how much food a Daedon has. I don't think anyway. I mean, maybe, who knows. But yeah, definitely useful for healing a couple of thousand health, especially if you get its food like really high. Like I have that one 20,000, I think. You can heal quite a few thousand on multiple Rexes at a time, which is a benefit to it compared to a Snow Owl, which can only heal maybe 3-4 dinos at a time, especially Rex-sized dinos, not very many at all. But yeah, Daedons have a pretty big healing radius, and I've heard that the more Daedons you have, the more the healing effect. You don't actually activate the healing on other Daedons, but it's like a passive buff. I don't know if that's true or not. That's just what I've heard. So yeah, so early on day 47 I decided to take out Rex out for leveling, but I actually forgot its saddle, so then I had to fly all the way back to base. I killed an Alpha Carno I found in the area and put the XP into my Rex, and then I found this level 90 UT that I would end up taming. Instead of that 120 that decided to get eaten for no reason. I already had a trap constructed somewhat nearby, but I had to use a Rex to lure it into the trap, because unfortunately UTs have that really annoying roar that's right there, and it scares pretty much anything into running away randomly, except for Rexes, Gigas, Wyverns, a few other select things. I would personally recommend a Mammoth if you're doing this, because they're probably faster than a Rex, better stamina, and then you can also use the drum buff if you got someone riding on the back, which prevents you from being fear roared anyway. Yeah, and that's the trap I constructed. It turns out that they can actually fit through a dino gate, unlike the chubby T-Rex. So I kind of had to change plans when I discovered that. To be honest, I hadn't really thought this through, because I realized at this point that I couldn't even get my Rex into the trap, lure the other guy into the trap, so I just had to lose him after a while. He got aggroed onto something else. At this point, I still hadn't figured out that the UT could fit right through the trap, so I decided to try to lure it on foot. This, of course, did not go very well, because I thought 130 movement speed would be plenty, but turns out it is not anywhere close to enough. So I ran through the trap thinking it'd stop it, and it didn't, and I died. But none of my fur armor broke, so at least that was good. I managed to get back pretty quickly on my Thylacoleo and cryopotted him up, and decided I would craft wooden dino gates. The UT would be able to damage them, but they would be able to hold it for long enough, I hope, to knock it out. So maybe that would keep it from running through the trap. Yeah, unfortunately, I found out Thylacoleos are also fear-roarable, because I was seeing if maybe they would be a better option, but no, not really. Eventually, I was able to escape the UT and its annoying fear roars, and somehow, by jumping on top of the trap, it kind of broke the UT. I didn't actually manage to trap the UT, but he just stayed on that gate right there and didn't really roar anymore after I got him there, and he couldn't hit me either, which was kind of surprising, so I just sat there and pelted him. I didn't show much for day 48 because it was mainly just finishing up the UT and the Rex leveling, and then I did get a little bit of metal too, like in the middle of the night while I was waiting for these eggs, and now I have 4 more Rexes on the way, which is exciting. I actually ended up taking the UT on a leveling trip, just to get him some more HP and stamina, because his special wars actually take quite a bit of stamina. And you want to make sure that you're just constantly roaring to boost your Rexes during boss fights, so try to pump stamina. Obviously some health. They're not going to be in the front lines. The UT is usually who you want to be riding in a boss fight, so you can be in control of the roaring. If you have 2 people, you can have a guy on a Daedon. Yeah, usually you don't want to ride the Rexes unless that's like your only thing, because they're taking the brunt of the damage. If anything dies, it's going to be them. You don't want to be sitting on it when it dies, because if you die and you don't have a tribe mate in the battle, then all your dinos will die, which is really quite annoying. Also, if you run out of time, all your dinos will die, and you will too. So you want to make sure to get the boss done within the time limit, basically, is what I'm saying, and not die. So about 10,000, maybe 15,000 health on a UT is about all you need. obviously try to get at least above 1.5k stamina. 2,000 would be ideal, although I was putting some points into damage on that guy as well, because I'm going to use them for the harder of the ice caves. It's amusing that I'm saying that, considering the easy one messed me up pretty bad. But I have faith that you can do it, because I've seen playthroughs of the cave, and the UT seems to be the most ideal dino for it. Some people have used Allos, Rexes, but really a UT is about the right size. I mean, Allos are a good size too, but with their added ability of the Fear Roar, being able to weaken the dinos in there is just a nice add for taking on that cave. That's about it for this chapter. Join us for chapter 6 as we get halfway through the playthrough, which is really crazy actually. Hey guys, and welcome back to chapter 6. We start off this chapter with more Rex leveling as usual. Some cave runs. Some don't go very well. Actually, most don't go very well. But I did manage to get 2 more artifacts. 3 more artifacts this chapter. So, yeah, that was good at least. I actually had a little bit of a scare that I lost footage for one of the caves. And actually, the fact that I got the artifact was a little bit unbelievable if you didn't see it. Like the actual clip. But, yeah, I found the clip, so that's good. When I returned from my leveling adventure, I worked on some base upgrades, mainly more spots to park dinos, because the lower area was starting to get a little bit crowded. By the end of the chapter, I figured it would be even more crowded. So, I made ramps up to 2 little cliffs, like, behind my base, next to my base, whatever you want to call it. And, yeah, one would serve as just a parking spot for mainly my caving dinos and other small dinos like that. And then the bigger of the 2, the cliffs, would be a parking spot for a ton of Rexes eventually. I mainly did this because it was just a time killer waiting for the imprints on the baby Rexes, but actually these areas ended up being super helpful in keeping my pen a little bit more organized than it was, and it just looked really cool when I lined all the Rexes up there. On the morning of day 51, I did, you guessed it, more Rex leveling. Later in the day, I killed and horrifically mauled the dead bodies of penguins just for organic polymer, because I'm too lazy to craft normal polymer. And, yeah, I needed that for cryopods and repairing my ghillie that was damaged during my swamp cave run. So, yeah. Then I went on to the very annoying cave that I've already died once in. And you guessed it, it wasn't exactly friendly to me the second time either. This is the cave's location if you forgot from last time. It actually started out pretty good because the main chamber was empty and a lot of the passageways were empty, and then of course I decided to fight a bat because I thought that was a good idea. Don't know why I thought it was, but I did. And so I fought a bat and died again. So if you die in this cave, don't expect to ever get your stuff back again. There's insta-death pitfalls that you can't get your stuff back from without ghosting. And then even if you die in the regular cave, apparently your stuff just gets meshed so bad you can never get it back. It's really frustrating, and I hope Wildcard fixes it. Because there's no reason that my bag should go flying into the ceiling if I died on the ground. but that's where the baggie was nonetheless. Also, the enemies are kind of bugged in this cave. If you die once in it, they just all disappear from the cave. I don't know why. But yeah, like that bat, I'm pretty sure was the only guy left in there from my whole time in the cave, which is weird. Since there was no enemies basically, I decided just to do it completely naked. And yes, I was freezing to death pretty quickly, but I had enough health to run through the cave and grab the artifact and get out, which is really all I needed to do. Just grab the artifact, get out before I die of freezing damage. So that's exactly what I did. Because it's actually a pretty quick cave. So on day 52, I set out with a Rex and started leveling it and headed towards the swamp cave to finally do it right and not die. Yeah, and actually get the artifact, because I didn't do that last time. I just ran out because I didn't want to die again. But this time I had better gear and I should be able to do it. There's the cave location in case you forgot, and yeah, let's get into it. It took me a little while to complete this swamp cave and get back from it, so on the evening of day 53 I set out for, yet again, another cave, but this one is underwater, and would probably be my most devastating cave yet. But you'll see what I mean when I get there. Here is the location of the Brute Cave, or Easy Sea Cave as some would call it. And it is easier than the other one, but it is by no means easy, so do not go into it thinking, oh yeah, I got this with your little baryonyx. You will be shark bait in like 2 seconds. They will be all over you and you will be dead, and it will be quite sad. Same with Shadow Maid. Don't bring a Shadow Maid, even if it has really good HP. The jellyfish will just bzzz, and then you're done. You're just done. There's nothing you can do except watch your precious Shadow Maid die. Yeah, me and my friend can tell you all about that. It happened to us once in this cave. But luckily, I found out that Basilosauruses are the best dino of choice for this cave because they are immune to the jellyfish, immune to the eels. They obviously still take damage from sharks and stuff like that, but they can hit pretty hard and get hit pretty hard, so they're pretty nice in that way, at least, I guess. Things were actually looking up until I discovered this massive swarm of high-level sharks, and if you see those damage numbers, they were way out DPSing me. So I just essentially tried to run from them, which wasn't really a good idea because there's not really many places to go in a cave. My stamina on that guy is not great, and on top of that, I just found more sharks every corner I turned, so then it became even more impossible to kill them. So definitely upgrade your HP more than I did on this guy, and try not to get swarmed like this, because it's impossible, almost impossible to get out, and it just does so much damage, like 338, like that is like Giga territory. Like, that's how much Gigas do in the wild, usually. Sometimes more, depending on the level, but still, my point being, 338 is a massive amount of damage. And you do not want to be taking it, especially when you're taking it from a bunch of different people at once. It's not fun. So honestly, at this point, I should have just ran out of the cave and just maybe came back later once I was healed up. But no, I decided to stay, and unfortunately, my Bacillo paid the price for that. Luckily, though, I was able to take out most of the stun dinos, and the ones that can swim fast enough to catch up with you with scuba flippers. Then I pointlessly fired a few rounds at the sharks, even though that was basically no damage at all to them. And I forgot that scuba flippers were so much faster than megalodons. Luckily, this ocean cave, the ground level, the surface inside the cave, like the breathable area, is actually big enough for you to survive. It's not big enough. It doesn't have any dangerous creatures like the hard one. The hard one has super high level scorpions, super high level bats. It's an absolute nightmare to try to go through there. So it's best that you don't try to go on the land area if at all possible, because in both of the ocean caves, the artifact is actually underwater. You just saw it right there. Which, unfortunately, there's some jellyfish, but I was able to lure them to me and I just killed them that way on land instead of trying to fight them in the water and having to worry about sharks and stuff. Now, I was actually really lucky because there's no alpha mosas in this little area. I've actually seen them there before, which if you have a high enough level Bacillo with, like, say 90,000 HP, 1,000 damage or something like that, you can take it. It's not a big deal. But when you're on scuba flippers and you're just trying to swim around, they will catch up to you so fast and they will one-shot you. And you will probably never ever see your stuff again. It's quite sad. But like I said, they were not in here this time, luckily. So it was actually pretty easy getting out of here. When I surfaced, it was day 34, and luckily I did not die and managed to get the artifact out of there, so that was good. Losing my Bacillo wasn't exactly great, but luckily I wouldn't need him for the next sea cave anyway, because they're much too slow for that. The hard sea cave, the best strategy is to use an Ichthyosaurus, which I call dolphins, because they kind of look like dolphins, but fish and dinosaurs, I don't know. But yeah, you really want to use them because you just want to run past everything. The cave is way too scary. Unless you have an absolutely insane Basilosaurus, the best option is just to run, because there's Alpha Tusos, Alpha Mozos, alpha megalodons, jellyfish, all of that nasty stuff. But luckily, Ichthysauruses can literally zoom right past them because they're probably the fastest water dino out there. Sarcos might be faster, but then again, they're also bigger and a more likely target for stuff. So yeah, I just went back on my T-Rex and rode back to base with one less dino, sadly. Later in the day, I took a Rex that needed some leveling, not like a lot. It already had been leveled some, but I was just trying to push it over to 30,000 HP. And I headed towards the hard water cave. Now, there is absolutely a reason they call it this, like I was describing earlier. Formosas, Alphatusos, which are giant squids that can grab you and just eat you, and it's quite scary and sad and frustrating when it happens. But I thought I had it completely under control, and I was completely wrong as usual. This is the entrance to the hard water cave, and yeah. So actually I survived a lot longer the first time I went in than the second, because the second time I was just trying to get my Ichthyosaurus out of a cryopod I had dropped when I died. But yeah, because the second time I got grabbed by a giant squid and got eaten, which was fun. Not really, but anyway, the first time I just successfully was able to zoom past most of these guys. Of course, the jellyfish stun you if you touch them, so you're kind of done for if that happens. Yeah, giant squid over there. Now, you probably want to look up a map of this cave before you did it, because I did not. And when I do it actually successfully, I'll put that on there. But I knew it was somewhere in this direction. Unfortunately, it was literally just to the right and down, and I missed it. Kept going. The artifact chamber is actually really easy. There's usually almost nothing in there. But of course, I decided to go this way. I was curious, as usual. And curiosity killed the Ark survivor. It was very annoying. Also, I learned to do not go on land, like at all, in these caves. It's not necessary. There might be a drop or something up there, but unless you have a dino with you that can go on land and can actually fight this stuff, don't go up there, because that is how I died. Not even from one of the scary water dinos that's down there, which is quite sad if you ask me. So I walked up here, thinking maybe the artifact would be up here, or maybe there could be a drop, or at least I could get to a safer spot to continue exploring, because obviously having swum through that stuff, I was pretty scared. And I shot the scorpion, having no clue that they were high level. And unfortunately, it said like 200 something, so when I got hit by them, I basically got instantly knocked out, which was not fun at all. When I say basically instantly knocked out, I just mean one-shotted by them. It wasn't instant, but it did go up quite a bit, my torpidity. And from there, I died, as suspected. So, day 55 was mainly just an attempt to get my stuff back. That was very fruitless. I tamed a new Ichthyosaurus and went back in the ocean cave again, and this time didn't even make it to land. I just died from a grabby squid, which was annoying. So then I just respawned and brought my Rex back, yeah, my RG, because I had to fly over there to get there, obviously. Yeah, I'm not even going to bother showing that, because it was just me dying. Nothing too interesting about that. And yeah, it was just mainly a waste of time. That's what day 55 was. From playing around with my Daedon, I learned that for 25,000 HP on a Daedon, you heal, 25,000 hunger on a Daedon, you heal about, well, over 3,000 HP, like probably 3,500 or something like that. Which is actually not that bad considering the number of dinos you can heal up, and if you have plenty of meat, you just drop it in the trough, walk away, and then you can heal up 3,500 more health again. It's actually kind of broken. I mean, yeah, snow owls do it for way less food, but you can only heal maybe 3 dinos at a time. Maybe. If you put them squished together or something. And then there was more Rexes. Why? Because I like pain and suffering. No, because I need them for the boss fight, but it is a lot of work to raise baby dinos because it really limits what you can do the next day or two, because you have to be back in time for imprints and all that fun stuff. I was actually on my way to tame an Ichthyosaurus when I saw this really high level pterodon, and pterodons fly way faster than Argentavises, so I figured he'd be a better travel mount than just slowly flapping everywhere. So yeah, I tamed him and then headed back to base for imprints. So I ran more metal early on day 58, did more Rex leveling. Then I continued my search for an Ichthyosaurus, which I would need to do the hard water caves, hopefully successfully this next time. Yeah, and that was chapter 6, so see you guys in the next one, and thanks for watching. Hey guys, and yeah, this is the beginning of chapter 6. I ended up getting rid of the one side gate and replacing it with a behemoth gate, so yeah, that was kind of getting annoying. Having to walk my Rexes around, and it still is annoying if I try to go down the one side, so I'll probably throw another behemoth gate in eventually, but for now I just put this one in, and this was like right after the end of the other chapter, so it's just like a quick like fix to that part of my base anyway. This chapter I also spent a large portion of it finishing leveling most of my Rexes. I tried to get them all to 35,000 HP and 500 damage, close to there anyway. Especially because I was running the bosses with primitive saddles. Anything less than that would be kind of scary. It would be really close anyway. Maybe it could pull it off. I don't know. Maybe I won't even be able to pull it off with 35k. I'm not super experienced with soloing bosses, so I don't really know. But I think I got this.
Nice. Oh! Huh?
Taming that otter actually went surprisingly well. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, not only are they like one of the most adorable creatures in all of Ark, they also keep you warm when it's very cold if you wear them. So it's very useful for traveling the snow biome, it's useful for the snow cave, which I'll do later this chapter, and it's useful for just the monkey boss fight, because it's cold too. Anywhere that's cold in general, bring an otter with you, especially if it's like really cold. Like, that's probably how you're expected to survive Ragnarok episodes, an otter and good fur armor. Because otters just actually provide so much insulation, it's crazy how OP they are. Later in the chapter, I'll end up taming a penguin, because they're also good at warming. But yeah, I found out they're not as good. So an otter is your best choice if you can find them. They're a little bit harder to find because they're not as common as the penguins, but they don't spawn in as dangerous of areas, so that's kind of nice too, I guess. Just a little tip for anyone who wants to level Rexes or really any strong dino on the island: kill Alpha Carnos, go to the ice biome, do yourself a favor. That's the third one I found in a 24-hour arc period in the snow biome, and that one gave me 17 levels. Not quite as good as the 23 that the other one gave me, but still pretty good. And they just spawn a lot there because Carnos spawn a lot in the ice biome, and they also sometimes spawn with Uranus packs, which is even more levels because they give you pretty good levels too, usually by killing them. There's just a lot of dangerous stuff in the snow biome, which means you want to stay away if you're not ready for it. But there's also a lot of levels to be had there, so it's a good leveling spot all around. Day 62 was mainly more Rex leveling. There's going to be a lot of that this chapter, as there already has been a lot of that, because Rex leveling is one of the key elements to doing any of the bosses in Ark, because you have to have good level dinos if you want to fight them. You can't just tame a Rex and be like, yippee, I'm ready. Unless you want to lose everything, which, hey, if you want to, go for it. More Rex leveling. Day 64, I crafted a raft and sailed back because I thought that would be faster than walking the whole length of the ice biome. It really wasn't really by that much faster, that is. It wasn't really that much faster. Later in the day, I again attempted to do the hard water cave, but I say attempted for a reason, annoyingly. Luckily, later in the day, I was able to find a pretty good Ichthyosaurus dolphin thing to be my next sacrifice to the water cave. Hopefully it won't die this time, but that's the main reason I'm just going with an Ichthyosaurus instead of a Bacillo or something, because they're really easy to tame, and it's probably the easiest way to do the cave solo. Because otherwise, you're going to want like really OP dinos if you're going to actually try to fight everything. The easiest way is really just to run. Not the safest way, but the easiest way. Then I collected obsidian because I was low on polymer. I then set out on probably what would be the hardest cave I'd face so far. And yeah, it was not pretty. Also, I found out that UDs can be fear-roared by other UDs into running away randomly, which was quite funny and stupid at the same time. I brought one of my worser Rexes as a distraction, and he did his job, I'll say that, but he got wasted very quick. Yeah, I'll throw the location of the cave up on screen. And again, this is probably the hardest cave on the entire island. Ocean caves are pretty hard, but this one is ridiculous how hard it is. So this actually really stinks, but if you fall in that river with a UT, I don't know if it's always like this, but I got stuck in it and that little river there and died, and it was quite annoying. I tried to run in naked and get my stuff back. It did not go very great. Yeah. So I had to end up just going back to base and grabbing my other fur kit, and hopefully I'll be able to get at least the UT back, because the otter unfortunately died. So I dismounted to cryopod up my Uranus and hopefully get him out of that cold water. For some reason it doesn't like load the damage if you're not actually in the cave, so he was perfectly fine. I also brought bridges that I could build, so hopefully I didn't fall back in that water. Fortunately, I dismounted and did not see the Purlovia directly underneath me, and yeah, that was kind of annoying. I returned very early day 68. Yes, the cave took that long. And unfortunately, I lost my otter. But that was really the only major loss of the whole expedition. I mean, I died probably 7 times or more just on that cave alone. And there was some pretty good loot I lost because it went into the water or whatever, and I just didn't feel like messing around trying to get it out. But I was actually very, very happy that my Uranus did not die. One of the few times Ark's weird glitches actually helped me out. So that was nice. I immediately set out to find a new otter because I learned how truly OP they are. And they really are OP. They keep you alive in that crazy cold cave. I figured I would need them for the boss fight against the monkey guy. Because I think it's like -4 in his arena, which you definitely can't survive in with Prim Fur. Later on day 68, I came across this river and saw the shadow of an otter swimming around in the dirty river water. Poor otter. But, yeah, I managed to find him, and then I went to go kill a fish, but it was nighttime when I had finally found him again. And then I just never ever saw him again. I came back with the fish, he wasn't there. After I lost that otter, I tried to go tame a penguin because I knew they could provide you with some warmth. But I found out it wasn't really as good of a warmth buff. But, I mean, what am I going to do? I already tamed it by that point. Kill it? Of course not. So now I have a pet penguin. I closed out this 10 days by flying around for some loot crates, pretty much. So yeah, that sums up chapter 7 to a T. See you guys in the next one. Hello everyone, and welcome to chapter 8. We got a lot going on in this one, and yeah, just a lot going on. Don't know what else to say about it. But yeah, I started off by cryopoding up some T-Rexes to go fight Alpha Rex I had saw earlier on in the world. first Alpha Rex proves easy enough, so I went to where I saw another one and decided to fight it as well. Later in the day, I started breeding up my Rexes because I got some with really good stats after fighting those Alpha Rexes, like 55,000 HP ones and 600 damage percentage. But yeah, I would be starting boss fights soon, and I wanted to make sure that if I wasn't prepared, that I would have reinforcements, to say the least. Early on day 71, I made some cryopods because I lost quite a few in that annoying ice cave. Also, I had some spare grenades, so I messed around with them in my lake and found out that they do indeed explode underwater, although it seems like they do possibly reduce damage. I then hatched an egg from one of my 50,000 HP Rexes, but I wasn't really super impressed with the stats. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't anything like their parents, so I don't know. They could still turn out good with leveling. With the remainder of my day, I decided to pump levels into some of my subpar Rexes. Try to get them to at least 35,000 HP and 500% damage, so they were boss ready. Although, I would find out that my setup was a bit overkill for Gamma, but better to prepare than under-prepare. Day 72, I decided to make another insane attempt at the hard water cave. And I think the only reason I made it was because of this Ichisaurus's clutch name. I was actually so excited I beat that cave after so many failed attempts, and I'm sure my dolphin was glad too because he didn't die, so, you know, that's always good. Then I tamed an otter because I decided they were a lot more OP than a penguin was for keeping you warm. Then I got the otter some drip.
Bruh, look at this dude.
Day 73 started out with, you guessed it, more Rex leveling. I will say though, I had a pretty interesting fight with an Alpha Megalodon.
Bruh.
I mean, it's alright, like...
Then I got to healing my Rexes and UT so they'd be ready for the fight coming up. I also took a swim to try to find deep sea loot crates in hope of maybe getting like a Rex saddle blueprint that was pretty decent, but I did not find a single one, and I was down there for quite a while. The time had come. I was now ready to prepare for my first boss fight against the spider guy. And just like that, the first boss battle was over. And my Rexes didn't actually take too much damage. Probably only a couple of thousand damage. I mean, most damaged Rexes. And if you're just joining us for the boss fights, their stats are like 35,000 the lower ones, and 500% damage, primitive saddles. So it really does not take a whole lot at all to beat Gamma bosses, aside from the dragon, although we'll talk about him later. But yeah, really, I'd say if you have 20,000 HP Rexes, you have at least a pretty decent amount of damage on them. You can probably take Monkey and Spider Gamma, probably. But yeah, I didn't know that going into this because this was my first time soloing bosses on single player, and really my only second time at all doing bosses. So yeah, just didn't know what to expect entirely, and I was over-prepared, which is better than, like I said, being under-prepared. So basically, after defeating the spider, I just went back to my base, grabbed my otter and some fur armor for the monkey, because really my Rexes did not really need healing at all. And yeah, so you probably want fur armor in an otter, unless you have better fur armor, and then you don't need an otter. But primitive, you will not survive in here because it's -4. Also, there's a small part of the arena where your dinosaurs can fall off, so you really want to try to lure the monkey back to your dinos if at all possible, like I did. And yeah, just lure them back, and then your dinosaurs will fight them whenever he starts hitting them. And that's the safest way to really go about it. I actually thought I was going to lose a few Rexes over the side, but as long as you're quick, it reduces the chance that he'll knock them back off. And whatever you do, do not try to whistle them, like, while they're standing near an edge, because that's going to increase the likelihood. Because if you fall on their dinos, anything, it's insta-kill. I don't know about the boss. That would be really funny if the boss landed up there. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happens if the boss lands there. Someone let me know. But anyway, yeah. Pretty basic boss fight, just like a spider. Then I healed all my dinos. on day 78, I started leveling Rexes again because I didn't want to bring my best of my best Rexes into the fight, so I needed 2 other ones to fill their place. Because yeah, the dragon is just despicably difficult. So I really, from what I've heard at this point, so I wanted to make sure I was not going to lose my best Rexes in this fight. It was actually quite lucky I had to do these Rex runs because it made it a lot easier to feed my Daedon, who just absolutely eats like a pig, which is fitting because he is a pig. But yeah, he just eats a lot whenever he uses heal abilities. One of the major drawbacks to it, but they're still really good and worth having, especially if you're playing on a map where you can't get Snow Owl or another heal dino. After searching for information on the dragon fight online, I heard that it's best to level mainly damage in your Rexes. So these replacement Rexes, I decided to level mostly damage and ended up getting to over 700%, which is pretty good considering most of mine averaged around 500 and something. This is what almost 700% damage looks like on an independent Rex, which is pretty good considering it's not like a Giga or something. Now I understand you can obviously get them to really, really high level damages and stuff from dinos like that, but in terms of like base damage, is like over double what you get on a Giga, or even more, which is just absolutely crazy considering it's a kind of mid-level Rex. I mean, obviously these Rexes are way above wild max, but yeah, I've seen official servers, like there's people at 450s max tame level, and then there's people of even higher than that if they have an X Rex or a Tech Rex, which is just absolutely absurd. But yeah, so yeah, it's kind of crazy what you can do with leveling in this game, and imprinting, mutations, all that weird stuff. But yeah, I personally don't try to mess with that side of the game because it's really, really grindy. But yeah, even if you can get something basic like this going, where some of my dinos might have 5 mutations, they're probably 4th generation or something like that. On single player, it's really not that bad. But I would not advise getting into that sort of business on official servers. That's a lot of time and effort. Thanks for watching this chapter, and see you in the next one, guys. Hey guys, and welcome to chapter 9. It's crazy, we're getting that close to the end of this, but this whole thing has really taken me probably over a year just getting clips, and mainly I rushed for the first bit, and when I got up to the bosses I was scared that I was gonna like goof it up, but I just decided to stop waiting and just do the dragon fight here for the day 80 right here. And I won't spoil that, so we'll get right into that. So going into this fight, there's a few things you need to look out for if you're doing it the first time, or really any time you do it. But the lava in the arena can damage your dinos and does quite a bit, so you really don't want them to stand on that for too long if you can help it. The dragon flies around quite a bit, and obviously your ground dinos can't attack him if he's doing that. Also, there's a bunch of pterodons and other little flying dinos in the arena, and they can be quite annoying, especially if you for some reason decide to go on foot. I would highly not recommend. So yeah, also you don't want your UT to get targeted like that. Try to get the Rexes to deal with that stuff. There might also be, I don't think there's Dimorphodons, but if there are, they can attack riders, so you want to avoid them. And the dragon does percentage damage, so you really want to keep boosting them with resistance from a Ytterranus if possible.
I was worried that it was going to be a pretty close fight, and it kind of was. I think I may have had some Rexes lose as much as 20,000 HP on this fight. They all had prim saddles, and I think I've shown you their stats, but just in case I haven't, most of them average around 35,500 damage. Not 35,500 damage, but 35,000 HP, 500% damage, somewhere in that range, something like that. So as long as you have at least that, maybe a little bit worse, then you should be fine. Okay, actually I was wrong. That one right there lost 30,000. There may be some that lost even more, so everything I just said was false. However, I did not have any die in the fight, so that's good at least. The remainder of day 80 I spent flying back and then starting to heal the Rexes. Healing 30 to 20,000 HP off of 20-ish Rexes takes a lot of meat and a lot of time. So that actually took up a lot of the next couple of days, and then I did something else. Now, this screen might surprise you, and it might seem like I skipped a little bit of something, which I kind of sort of did, although not intentionally. My computer ran out of storage space to hold the last video in which I knocked out this Giga, unfortunately. However, I knocked it out on day 83. And to prove I'm not cheating, why would I not just insta-tame it instead of like knocking it out? I don't think there's a cheat command for knocking something out. There might be, but I legitimately do not know what it is. So, yeah. Basically what happened was I had a trap. I tried to get it to go into the trap, but for whatever reason it would not. And then it trapped itself on an iceberg, and I knocked it out there. So yeah, that's basically what happened, but my computer was retarded and ran out of storage space. And in honor of the clip getting deleted, I named this Giganotosaurus Gigabyte, because these videos take up a lot of gigabytes, for real. Like, I think it's like at least 10 per hour clip I take, or more, probably more. For reference, this is the same wild level 135 Giga I saw earlier in the run in this area, and I just finally had the means to tame it. Or kind of anyway. Though I was definitely sad about the clip getting deleted for whatever reason, I was happy that I successfully tamed this Giga, because it's probably to this day still the most impressive thing I've tamed by myself in Ark, so yeah. And as soon as I got back to my base and crafted a saddle for it, I did what any sensible Ark player would do and admired how tiny I looked atop of it. Then I immediately started leveling the Giga. The only thing you can really level very well on a tamed Giga is damage. Straight damage is pretty much all you'd ever want to pump in a tamed Giga, because it barely gets points for anything else. And to be honest, it really doesn't need too many points in anything else. 18,000 HP isn't great because I have Rexes with more than twice that. But really, hopefully you should be able to kill most things before they can deal too much damage to you on top of a Giga anyway. However, if you're crazy enough through breeding and mutations, I've seen Gigas with, tamed Gigas with 30,000 HP, and damage in the thousands, like damage percentage, not the actual like damage pop-up number, but the percentage in the thousands on PvE servers where people grind out like a bunch of no-lifes. But yeah, really, for the casual player, an 18,000 HP Giga will take care of most things you'll come across. Then I took a little break from leveling and saw that I still needed to heal my Rexes, so I had to go back out to meat collect with my Giga, so I could also level it at the same time, so that was kind of beneficial. Also, for those of you that don't know, Gigas you probably want to keep on passive, because if for whatever reason they take more than 50% damage, they'll go into rage mode and attack literally anything, including your own dinos and you. So, you really don't want them. Like, if they're on passive, they won't do that, they'll just dismount you. So, yeah. And then back to the leveling grind I went. I then decorated the graveyard a little bit and made Penguin an official gravekeeper. Even has his little own gravekeeper's hut. It's not very nice, it's just a cage, but you know, it's a good job for Penguin. On day 86, I ran the Carno Island cave just so I would have an artifact to display in my base, because it felt a little bit empty without one since I've had to use all of them for the bosses now. And also see if I could get some cave loot, because caves have some of the best loot on the entire island. Also, I surprisingly found a new dossier in the cave, even though I've been in this cave several times. I just didn't notice that one was there. And I also tamed a dung beetle and named it accordingly. Although it wouldn't let me name it Pooping Head for some reason, which was kind of annoying. Then I began to search for a female Uranus, so I'd be able to have backups just in case the Overseer didn't go so well the first time. Which the Overseer is arguably harder than the Dragon, even on Gamma difficulty, but I think I'll be able to pull it off. Early on day 87, I located my target because the one I was shooting at in the previous clip, I think, died. So I searched around the entire ice biome, and then by the time I circled back, this one had spawned in kind of the same area the last one was. So I tried to tame it too. I tried taming it without the trap initially, because last time I learned trying to get a UT and a trap with an Argentavis is a complete pain, because the Argentavis will just get fear roared and fly in random directions. Moral of the story, use a trap. I ran out of gun tranks and regular bow tranks, and got desperate and resorted to trying to punch it, which of course did not work. I went back to my base to make more trank arrows and came back with a pterodon for extra speed, and luckily I was able to find it again. Sometimes I'm not that lucky, sometimes it will despawn or get itself killed or something like that, but I was able to find it. Of course, in all the commotion, running to grab tranquilizers back at my base, I forgot to bring food to tame it with. But luckily I had already completed the hard part, so I could just fly back to my base and get the food necessary. About halfway through day 80, it finished taming finally. It almost took as long as the Giga did, not quite that long, but still pretty long. This might give you a clue of how long this whole series has taken. Yeah, it's August now, and yeah, last time I recorded this was January. It probably wouldn't have taken that long, but part of it was procrastination, part of it was just editing kind of takes a while. Not that while, but yeah, no, I procrastinated. You guessed it, more dino leveling and meat collecting. But this time, not just on my Giga, I also did some on the Uranus I just tamed to get it some levels as well. And then that night I went Raptor Claws present hunting again, and that was about it for Chapter 9. Pretty solid. I defeated the dragon, tamed a Giga, healed my Rexes after fighting the dragon, which in of itself is a pretty large undertaking. And also tamed a second Uranus. So all in all, pretty productive chapter. I've been really slow to start working on the next one because the Overseer kind of scares me, but I'll do it. I'll do it soon. Soon could be relative, but I will do it. Hey guys, welcome back to chapter 10? 9? Something like that? The last chapter, whatever number it is. I started off by making a saddle for my spare Uranus, and then I went about leveling it. After that, I went looking for ocean loot crates, and went around basically the whole map again and found none. So I don't know what my bad luck is with getting ocean drops, but yeah, I went out a few more times after this too, but again, nothing. So it was just a waste of time. Starting day 2 until I left to do the tech cave, I kept cycling through some of the map's hardest caves because I wanted a better fur blueprint because I was running all primitive, and from what I had heard about the tech cave, it has an area in it that's very cold. Obviously the lava entrance part is very hot, but the actual Overseer arena itself is very cold, so you need good ghillie and good fur to survive in there. Maybe mixed in with a little bit of good flak if you want good protection too. I just flew out just now here because I heard the Uranus and wasn't sure if my Pterodon was going to be safe being left out. The hard ice cave especially was not only a good way of farming loot, but also a good way of leveling a lot of my Rexes that needed some more leveling. I felt like before the fight, it's very easy to get at like 10 levels or more. You just have to, of course, obviously make sure your Rex is strong enough to enter the cave in the first place. After that, I finally unlocked the bookshelf engram because I decided I just had way too many blueprints sitting around my base. Those of you that don't know, bookshelves can store like up to 100 blueprints, so they aren't filling up your other chests. So probably worth investing in if you don't like have a vault or something to stick them in. Yeah, just a good way to store a lot of blueprints. Then again, probably some of the ones I was holding on to were no good, but it fit pretty nicely in my base, so I was happy with where I put it. Day 93 started with me running the swamp cave, which admittedly I don't know that I've ever gotten any stellar armor blueprints out of here, but it's a pretty good place to go for saddle blueprints anyway. And it's just one of the better loot caves on the surface of the map anyway, so it was definitely worth checking out. Yeah, I could have probably done like exited and then like re-entered the world to regenerate all the drops in the ice cave, but that felt a little bit like cheating. And besides, it was a good way to level up some of my smaller caving dinos, like the Megatherium, which pretty much exists in Ark for the sole purpose of this cave and murdering millions and millions of bugs. As you can see, like I said, pretty good saddles that you can get from this cave, mainly from the red drop that spawns in this specific location in the cave. There's sometimes yellow drops in other spots, but this area right here is generally where the cave has its best loot, and it's pretty close to where the artifact chamber is, so pretty easy to find. I also tried to run the easier of the two ocean caves because the ocean caves also have pretty good loot, but none of the enemies pretty much were in there and none of the drops were either, so the cave was kind of bugged. I was just about to leave this cave when I saw a red glow coming from behind that frozen waterfall. I didn't even know a drop could spawn there, but I'm very glad I actually turned around and went for it, and you'll see why.
Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for!
Finally, after literally hours of running caves over and over again, I got exactly pretty much what I was looking for. And it worked pretty well for what I needed it for. I immediately took my Rex out and started collecting fur because, well, yeah, the blueprints needed a lot. The less expensive of the two needed 600 something, and the more expensive one needed like twice that or something like that. It turns out Rexes are not very good fur collectors, and for whatever reason I didn't have an axe on me, so I ended up collecting the fur with a stone hatchet, but it actually worked decently well. So I got the fur I needed pretty quickly. The following day I took my Giga out to get even more fur because I'd got enough for the more expensive piece, but I was completely out of fur now, so I had to go back out and get some more. Plus some meat to heal the Rexes that I had leveled because they needed a lot of food to heal, obviously. Then I worked on making med brews in case it was still somehow too cold or too hot inside of the arena and cave, in case I needed to heal my survivor for some HP quickly. Yes, a spooky skeleton jump scare. Since Ark Survival Ascended came out on Steam already, I'm pretty sure they just went ahead and made the Halloween event items like free to craft, so I made a skeleton, because why not? It's cool. The day was finally here to take on the tech cave. Unfortunately for me, it was a day of many mishaps, of which this was the first. And unfortunately, as a result, that Uranus lost like a quarter of its HP because I didn't realize the black stuff there was lava. And yeah, so I ended up having to fly back to my base and grab the other one, because sitting there and waiting for it to heal obviously wasn't an option if I wanted to have a chance at beating the game before day 100. I lined up all my Rexes, or I should say not lined them up, blobbed them up by the entrance, which ended up being a fatal mistake. Yeah, things only got worse from the beginning of the tech cave, as you'll see. I only managed to get a few Rexes for the entrance of the original 20 I wanted to bring, which was honestly the least of the most unfortunate things to happen. For whatever reason, I was being dumb and didn't realize that whistling all at the gate there to try to get more Rexes to squeeze in was actually just only going to get my ones back already inside the cave more messed up, to where they walked all over the lava and stuff, and it was just not great at all. Yeah, like that. Some of them already walked into the lava, just right there. I was able to get those ones out, but some fell later on. I probably won't show a whole lot of the actual tech cave, except for obviously some highlights. Because in terms of difficulty, it really is not probably much harder than the hard ice cave, except for the fact that there's the lava pits, obviously. That, as you'll see, that was my main difficulty in here. But with multiple Rexes, even the powerful enemies you're finding here are not going to be a real threat at all. Some people suggest leading your Rexes on top of your Uranus, but I personally didn't find this to be very effective because the Uranus was just so much slower at killing stuff. And yeah, the reason they tell you to is because there's Privilegias in the cave, and if you get off of your Rex, they can jump you. But my feeling is as long as you have at least one of your Rexes on neutral, they'll come and help you out whenever you get attacked by the Privilegias. Now, it probably isn't a great idea to keep all of your Rexes on neutral the entire time, because there's a pretty good chance they'll walk themselves into lava if you do. But I found at certain times it was helpful to whistle them onto neutral, as long as I was watching. Also, normally I wouldn't care about the Uranus being slow at killing this stuff, but there is a time limit for the actual tech cave portion, not the boss fight, but the tech cave itself. For some reason it wasn't appearing on my screen, so I don't know if Gamma doesn't have it or something like that, but I also heard that Gamma doesn't have a Giga at the end of the cave, but this one did, as well. Because I've seen videos on the cave, I knew fairly what to expect, so actually I didn't lose many Rexes, especially at the beginning part. Most of them were lost in the latter half of the cave. But yeah, that's inevitability. Even if you come in super prepared, there's always a chance that one of your Rexes could just turn a little bit too wide and go into a pit they can't recover from. Some of the pits you can recover the Rexes from. It's a little bit janky, but you'll see, because I actually do manage to recover one or two out of the lava pit, so. And especially for the enemies on the curves, you want to take a dino out first and kill all of them. Because otherwise, especially if your dinos are neutral, they'll just go all over the place straight into lava. So yeah, clear the corners first, and then take a handful at a time around them slowly, and you should not lose too many of them. If you're lucky, you may not lose any at all. Like, I didn't lose any on this curve, which I was really surprised by, because I've seen tons of people lose them on this curve, because it's pretty sharp. But, like I said, if you take out the enemies on the curve, you should be fine, probably. But, yeah, I, of course, whistled them onto neutral at the latter part of the cave, because the concentration of enemies was a little bit heavier, and I wanted backup, and, yeah, they kind of, a few of them stumbled. Right here, my first Rex fell in the lava, and it does quite a bit of damage, but not as much as the lava outside of the volcano. As you can see, that one was able to recover itself out of the lava by bouncing up on the cliff bordering the lava enough times. So it is possible to recover them in some areas, although obviously I'd be careful because they'll take a lot of damage either way. It's like 200 damage per second or something. I don't know if it's per second or like per 2 seconds, but either way, it's not an amount you want your Rex to take if they don't have to, especially. This part right here was really bad. I should have cleared it with only one Rex, but of course I went in with all my Rexes. They were on neutral, and one tumbled off into an unrecoverable ravine down there, or at least I thought it was unrecoverable. I didn't bother trying to get them out because it was a lot steeper cliff than the last one that the other one had fallen into. I was actually super lucky the Giga up ahead didn't notice me. Unfortunately, one of my Rexes tumbled down into that ravine, which looks like it might be recoverable, but with the added danger of the Giga, I didn't waste the time trying to get him out. He actually landed on a spot that wasn't hurting him, because it was like rocks down there or whatever. But yeah, I definitely should have tried to clear that out with one Rex. Would have avoided the loss of the 2 Rexes at the end there. So yeah, take that advice if you bother trying to do this horrible cursed cave. Unfortunately for my Rex down there, he became a snack for a Giga, and I was left with only 2 Rexes and a Yutyrannus to attempt the Overseer with. Not great odds. So in this first tech-looking chamber thing, it's about negative 18 Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in Celsius. But the boss arena itself is a little bit colder than that. None of them are anywhere near as cold as like Ragnarok Death Snow, for instance. But both of them are colder than pretty much anywhere you find on the surface of the island. there is no hazard in this part of the cave. It looks pretty cool too. Main hazard is the cold, and of course time, because your time is still counted until you enter that door right there and it starts the fight. Of course, the Overseer, like every other boss in this game, spawns a bunch of little minions to help him out during the fight. The main danger is the Droider Rico ripoffs. I think they're called defense units. But, yeah, they have a lot of health and deal a lot of damage. The little flying ones that shoot at you don't actually do any damage to you as a player. I think they're mainly meant to be a distraction, but they also have a ton of health if you decide to try to kill them. But, yeah. They do some damage to your dino, not a whole lot. My two Rexes were doing so little damage that it took a long time for him to enter his first boss form, which admittedly was a lot weaker in terms of HP, but in terms of damage it still hit as hard as the normal Mega Pithecus did. And then when the dragon was chosen as the second form he transformed into, that was pretty much the end of my run in this fight. One of my Rexes had already died. Yeah, it was just one left in the unit, so it was pretty much nothing I could do at that point. Well, guys, it kind of sucks that it ended this way, but the good news is that I only lost 4 of my Rexes and 1 of my Uties, so I could really try again if I wanted to, and I might. I'll probably definitely post a video on that if I do. If not, I'll get to it in Ark Survival Ascended and make sure to leave my personal review on the game. Of course, probably on Xbox and not on this PC, because this PC at times struggles to run Ark 1. Ark 1.5 is a whole different story, so yeah, probably on Xbox. But whenever it drops, I will make sure to post a video on my thoughts and stuff. It's already been through a lot in its first couple of days of release, but yeah, this just thank you guys for sticking to the end. Thanks for watching. This project took probably 2 years total, something like that. Obviously not like continuous. I took long breaks from this world, and part of that was just because I was scared of the fight. And yeah, it kind of stinks that I lost, but you know, at least now I have the experience to know what to do better next time, and I think I'll be able to beat it next time. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this. Yeah, just thank you. See ya.